once was arrested, and it completely changed my approach to activism. It was 7 a.m. on March 11, 2021, when I left my apartment to go to the campus where I was studying for a master's degree. A group of 10 security officers, both men and women in uniform, were waiting for me. They brought me to a police station for interrogation, surrounded by all 10 of them, with a camera put in front of me and a note taker. So the interrogation was about my involvement with the National Assembly election, and their knowledge about myself was surreal. They knew that I needed coffee to function. They knew what type of jokes I liked to make and who I was close to among my classmates, and a ton of other details about myself. I felt like I was living the German movie, The Lives of Others. The interrogation was intense. By the end of the afternoon, I partly fainted, so they brought me a folding bed and a bowl of soup so I could continue. How kind, right? Finally, by almost midnight, they decided to let me go. But before that, they made it clear that they had enough evidence and motivation to arrest me at any time. 2 weeks later, they brought me back for the second round of interrogation. And this time it was about my roles in the democracy movement. And I was brought to the headquarters of the Ministry of Public Security with 3 interrogators from the previous group. Surprisingly, whenever I was left alone with them, they became more relaxed and open to me. So it was more like a conversation than an interrogation. I learned that the youngest interrogator, he was very upset that he couldn't go to the airport to pick up his parents-in-law. And the oldest one shared with me about his wife and his 4 children, with the youngest daughter became his favorite. The last one, he was in charge of my case, was the toughest. He told me, "Why do you need to be so stubborn? We know everything. We know that you have a political agenda." So tired of having to prove myself again and again, I responded, "Of course, I have a political agenda. I have traveled to different countries and regions, so I know that Vietnam has great potential. So my agenda is nothing but realizing that potential. Even though significant change might not come in our lifetime, it's worth investing in for the future of your daughter and my son." I choked up, feeling vulnerable. And he got teary too. Quiet. He got quiet for a moment and finally said, "I know people like you are fighting out of your own beliefs, but I hope you know I am only doing my job." When they released me by midnight, I came home with a heavy heart, realizing I had misunderstood the nature of my battle. I used to believe that it's fundamentally different between me and my supposed enemies, and that I was on the right side of the truth. But this experience taught me that my interrogators and I were no different. I could have been them, and they could have been me. And how vulnerable and helpless an individual can be, regardless of where we are within the system or the society. And I realized the only way to bring change is by seeking consensus from all different communities across the political spectrum. My realization has been proved right in the past 2 years, when the General Secretary of the Vietnamese Communist Party escalated his anti-corruption war. 167,700 party members have been disciplined and removed from the system, including 2 presidents, 2 deputy prime minister, 1 president of the National Assembly, and 1 permanent member of the party's Central Committee's Secretariat. And 60,000 other party members decided to leave the system for good due to this turmoil. It was no less than a Hunger Game. And now the General Secretary has died, leaving back a leadership vacuum and an immense distrust crisis within the party and the society. Everyone has been in fight or flight mode for so long. So this is to my fellow Vietnamese. We cannot afford to hold back our potential anymore. We need to work together, put differences aside, focus on common ground, build trust, and allow each other to reach our full potential. Only then can we be a dignified member of the world and bring our country shoulder to shoulder with the great powers in the 5 continents. And before I end my talk today, I want to leave you with one quote from the Vietnamese songwriter Phạm Duy. Our enemies are not human beings. If we kill our fellow humans, who else is left for us to live with? Thank you.